Welcome back. Texas Democrat Mark Vesey drafting articles of impeachment against President Trump's top law enforcement officials. That includes Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel. This comes after South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace filed a motion to strip Democrat Ilhan Omar of her committee assignments after her insensitive comments against Charlie Kirk. That measure did not pass. Congressman Vesey writes this on X. Many people are saying we should impeach the incompetent Kash Patel and Pam Bondi for the lies they actually told. Joining me now is Florida Congresswoman Laurel Lee. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being here. What is happening on the other side of the aisle with this?
Well, this is an abuse of the impeachment process. It's one of the most serious things that we can do in Congress. And these allegations against our Attorney General and FBI Director Patel are essentially baseless. They are doing their jobs. They're actually restoring the American confidence in the impartiality of our institutions of justice and the Department of Justice. And the fact that there are those in Congress who don't agree with their priorities or don't want to see us returning to a nation of good law and order is not a basis for impeachment. And there's simply nothing here that would rise to the level of that being an appropriate consideration. So to be sure, we see Democrats all over America who don't want a return to a tough on crime, community safety focus. But that's what Attorney General Bondi and FBI Director Patel are delivering.
Well, it's just incredible to me that these fights keep going back and forth. I mean, you know, most people just want to see government operate, and Republicans and Democrats move to make things look progress for the American people. And instead, we're getting fighting back and forth constantly. It's really, we'll see about the government shutdown. This is the next test, right? You've got 3 legislative days left to go before a potential shutdown. Democrats are opposing the Republicans' clean continuing resolution. They want COVID health care provisions in that deal. When will you vote on this short-term CR today?
So we expect to vote on the short-term CR this morning. And you're exactly right. Funding the government, keeping the government open, that's exactly the kind of thing that the American people sent us to Washington, D.C. to focus on. And when we end up with our time being diverted by things like sham impeachment motions, it's just absolutely a distraction from the core essential work that Congress needs to be doing. So I do anticipate that we'll be voting this morning on a short-term CR. My expectation is that it will pass out of the House of Representatives. We are seeing a time where House Republicans are very unified in wanting to advance President Trump's agenda. Part of that is keeping our own work on track. So the short-term CR will give us an opportunity to continue passing appropriations bills out of the House, conferencing with the Senate, hopefully going ahead and funding the government in the normal course of business the way that we're supposed to do it. So I know that's what's on our agenda. If need be, we have other legislative days before the end of September, but I know our hope is that it gets done this morning.
Yeah, I know, but you're going to get it done this morning. You will send it then to the Senate. Let's say, hypothetically, it passes out of the House. You only lose 1 vote, which is Thomas Massie, who's already a public no. Then you send it to the Senate. The vote on competing plans both need 60 votes. The Senate is on holiday next week. It's Rosh Hashanah. They are not there. So what do you think? I mean, government funding runs dry on Tuesday, September 30th. Then they've got 48 hours to come back if both of these bills fail. Majority Leader John Thune is warning the Senate is unlikely to return next week, meaning that the next vote on the GOP stopgap would not happen until September 29th. What do you think happens?
Well, here is the peril for Senate Democrats. So you're exactly right. There's not much time left on the clock. They have made a series of demands about expansive health care policies that they want included in order to support the CR. But the reality is this. A government shutdown is incredibly disruptive. It's wasteful. It's bad for the American people. What the House has prepared is really a clean CR that doesn't include all of these policy provisions. It should be non-controversial. It should be bipartisan. And if Senate Democrats decide that they're going to oppose that and instead take procedural moves, take votes that result in a government shutdown, that, I believe, will be a very politically perilous position for them, because the American people will see quite clearly who made the decision that it was better to shut the government down than continue to be up here and do our jobs. So at the end of the day, I don't believe that that's what they're going to do. But if they do, they'll be the ones that face the consequences in trying to explain that to the American people.
So what do they want? Are we talking about $28 billion a year in affordable health care subsidies and perhaps the big, beautiful bill, Medicaid pullbacks put back? Specifically, what do your colleagues want on health care back in this bill? Is this all COVID spending?
So you're touching on some of the things that they're interested in. So, we just did a lot of work in the One Big Beautiful Bill to try to identify areas where we could do some common sense reforms to make sure that Medicaid was functioning, that those benefits were going to the people who needed them most, that people who were able to work were doing so. And so some of what they want to do is to pull back those provisions that we just finished working on, hearing through committee, hearing testimony, hearing debate. So we did all of that work the right way. They're wanting to pull back that work. Some of them talking about these subsidies for the tax credits for the premiums for Obamacare that really were related to COVID and not intended to be something that existed forever. But in any event, these are big policy questions that don't belong getting attached to a short-term continuing resolution. Whatever the result of these policy debates, there's no place that it belongs in a short-term funding resolution like this.
I mean, if you're telling the country that you are efforting getting back to pre-COVID spending, how do you justify putting back COVID subsidies in this bill?
Well, that's exactly right. Is these subsidies in the first place were intended to help people who were temporarily out of work or staying home because of the pandemic. And one thing that we're seeing as a theme from Democrats in Congress is that they don't want to go back to pre-COVID spending levels, even though there is no logical basis to explain to the American people that we need to continue spending in all of those ways now that we're on the other side of the pandemic. So that is something that they are advocating for, but it's not good fiscal policy for the American people.
Here's your colleague, Andrew Clyde, with me earlier in the week. Watch.
I think what he's talking about are the COVID-era subsidies for Obamacare. Not one Republican has ever voted for it. It's a problem. We're not in COVID anymore. So I think this is an issue of what's not in the bill. This is a clean funding or spending freeze, rather, for the next 2 months so that we can get the appropriations process completed.
Well, Congresswoman, we will see, and we, of course, will be watching your work. We appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Great to see you.
All right, Congresswoman Laurel Lee.